Lando Norris won his home British Grand Prix for the first time after teammate Oscar Piastri collected a 10-second penalty for a controversial safety car incident with Max Verstappen in a thrilling rain-hit race. Winning back-to-back races in the same season for the first time, having beaten Piastri in Austria last week, Norris has cut the Australians' title lead to just 8 points at the halfway stage of the 24-race season. This is a dream winning at home, said an emotional Norris on his slowdown lap. Nico Hulkenberg, meanwhile, finally ended his career-long podium wait as the 239th time of asking the Sauber driver drove an extraordinary race from 19th on the grid to beat Lewis Hamilton to third. Finishing fourth for the second week running, Hamilton's wait for a first Grand Prix podium goes on, with the Britain's run of consecutive Silverstone podium finishes ending at 12. Verstappen spun in the wet within two corners of the incident with Piastri amid a difficult race from pole, but eventually fought his way to fifth. But the Red Bull driver is now 69 points out of the title race and seemingly out of realistic contention for a fifth straight World Championship crown, given the relentless results of the team McLaren's in front. While the Mercedes drivers and Leclerc all enjoyed in torrid afternoons, Sauber were not the only midfield team to cash in on opportunities. Gasly claimed his best race result of the season in sixth with a late pass on Aston Martin's Lance Stroll, who ran a third before dropping to seventh. Alex Albon was eighth, and Fernando Alonso, who early expressed anger for his team strategy call which benefited Stroll, in ninth. Russell, despite a wild trip across the gravel and an early switch to Swix, preserved to take home 10th. The gripping race controversial victory changing moment came on lap 21 though. After a period of intensifying rain had brought out the safety car twice quickly, the second time when an incited Isaac Hadjar crashed into the back of Antonelli's Mercedes, Piastri was preparing for the restart as he led Verstappen down the hangar straight. However, as he slowed down to build a gap to the safety car, Verstappen had to take evasive action to McLaren's right and briefly overshot the race leader before dropping back behind. Stewards placed the investigation under investigation soon after, but he said no erratic braking nor any other manoeuvre which is likely to endanger any other driver. That rule was found to have broken. They imposed a costly 10-second penalty on the Aussie that cost him the race. Seemingly unconvinced, Verstappen and half spun within two corners of the exit at Stowe, plummeting to the foot of the top 10 again before he got his Red Bull going. And yeah, as the race resumed and he attempted to start building a sufficient lead over Norris to get his penalty, and annoyed Piastri expressed his anger with a sanction over team radio. McLaren were too happy on the pit lane and put their complaints to reach control. Piastri led Norris by only around 3 seconds all the way up to lap 44 when he made his pit stop to switch onto the dry tyres with a 10-second penalty served. Norris pitted a lap later and took the lead, while Piastri briefly threatened to chase his teammate back down as he started to close down his new pace deficit. The Australian suggested to the pit wall they consider swapping the order of the cars back if they agreed that the sanction was unwarranted. McLaren denied the request and saw Norris out the final laps to win by almost 7 seconds, becoming the first British driver other than Hamilton to win at Silverstone since Coulthard in 2000. It's pretty incredible. Tomorrow morning is going to be the realisation moment, said Norris. I never know how to think of it, how to picture it before. I want to win here more than any other place in the world. You always got to go out and do it. As the Britain began celebrations, Piastri was clearly very angry, refusing to comment for fear of being sanctioned himself. When the moment arrived though for Hulkenberg, after 15 years of trying, the 37-year-old's run to a maiden podium could not have been more unlikely or emotional. Sauber had scored points in the previous 3 races thanks to recent upgrades, but extending that to 4th looked remote after they qualified 17th and Hulkenberg down in 19th respectively. But Hulkenberg was capitalised into the top 10 after a lap 9 pit stop and then found himself in the top 4 after Verstappen's spin at the end of lap 21. Overtaking Stroll 13 laps later, Hulkenberg then started to come under pressure from Hamilton, but despite fearing inevitable that the Ferrari get past, the German actually managed to extend his lead with the Ferrari struggling for a grip. It keyed scenes of jubilations. What a race, coming from virtually last to doing all of that, said Hulkenberg. It's pretty surreal, to be honest. It was just as fight for survival that race, and thankfully we were right with the calls. I was in denial until probably at the end, until we heard we got Lewis, and I was like, okay, this is good, this is some breathing space. And yeah, what an incredible moment. And before I go, let me run you through the classification from the British Grand Prix. Norris coming out on top. I mean, it's his first home race win. Obviously slightly fortunate with the way he got it, but, another big win for him, closing the ties to get down. Piastri, I can understand why he's mad. And yeah, I think I probably provide him with even more fuel to come back. But yeah, definitely probably man if I've seen him. But for Hulkenberg, 3rd place, what an unbelievable story. I mean, incredible. So pleased he's got rid of that record, and huge congrats to him. Hamilton 4th. Yeah, I think I'll be disappointed to miss out on the podium. I'll see it as a missed opportunity, but that Ferrari looks horrible to drive point, as Leclerc proved. So I think Hamilton did a good job with it, to be fair. Verstappen in 5th, good recovery. He always seems to make a great recovery. Gasly in 6th, getting that track to 6 is incredible. Stroll dropped back a bit, but still very decent points. Be ashamed to see Alonso couldn't have got up there as well, because I think he probably would have done better at maintaining that position. But another point for Albon in 8th, I think he'll be pleased with that. Russell, I'm not sure how he managed to get points after that because I asked the class for a race. Beerman had so many missed opportunities this weekend. I think he'll be kicking himself for that. As with Ocon, especially when Sauber scoring big and Alpine as well. Sainz 12th, yeah, it's a similar story for him, another missed opportunity. Leclerc had a horror day, and then Tsunoda, I mean, it's just not going well, is it? It's just another really, really poor weekend. And then the rookies really struggling in conditions like this, all not classified. And I mean, it's easy to see why, isn't it, in conditions like that. So yeah, a frustrating day for all of them, but I think it's a learning experience too. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily F1 news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.